So to wrap up this base lesson on CRM and contacts, we're going to create a list, and I'm going to show you how to do that based on the custom attribute that we created to record our customer experience and the data that we've collected using the form to record that attribute. So we're going to go to CRM and select lists, and I'm going to go to add list in the top right hand corner. You're going to see that you're given the option of choosing a static list or a dynamic list. Now, the only difference between these lists is that a static list will not update in future if this attribute changes. So this static list will only take customers who have already rated me, let's say, a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5. So I'll make this list for customers who have had a good experience. And it will only take those customers who have already rated me a 4 or a 5. And if any customer submits that form in future, they won't be added to a static list because it's just that snapshot in time. However, if I choose a dynamic list, it will consistently update. So every time a customer submits that form and gives me a bit of feedback, then they will be added into that list as a result. So I'm going to choose a dynamic list just to make sure that it's future-proofed. And I'm going to say that this is for customers who had a good experience and rated me a 4 or a 5. And I'm going to hit submit. And now you'll see that my list is empty, and that's purely just because I haven't actually put any active filters in there yet. So I'm going to show you how you can filter that exactly. The type is going to be contact. The option here is going to be selecting an attribute. So what you can also do is select contacts, and that is actually going to involve you manually selecting contacts one by one to add them to the list. Or you can also do so based on relations, but that's a very small use case which we'll cover in another video. So for now, we're going to select an attribute. The attribute is going to be tell us how we did, and the operator is going to be any of the values, and I'm going to select 4 and 5. And now I'm going to save that filter and hit close. And now this will give me all of the customers who rated me a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5. So now if I activate this list, you'll see you have an expected number of members, not menus. And I only have 80 customers in this account, so it's not going to be a huge amount, but it will work exactly the same no matter how big your database is. We're going to hit activate once we've selected those active filters, and then you'll see my list has already updated here. I'm going to give you one more quick example of how you can use it for segmentation and show you how we're going to get the customers who had a poor experience and rated us a 1 or a 2. So again, we're just adding a list. We'll do a dynamic list and say poor experience 1 or 2. And we're going to hit submit. And now again, we're just going to add our filter group by selecting contact. We're going to do an attribute selection, and again, the attribute is tell us how we did. For the operator, just to give you a different example, we don't need to choose any of the values. We can also say is equal to, and then we can select 1 and save that filter. And now the reason why I'm doing it this way is just to show you that you have an or option here. And if you add it in here, which is within this same filter, that means the customer has to fit both of those filters in order to be added to the list. So if I were to add this, but for the rating of 2, for example, and did it within this box, it wouldn't actually work because nobody is going to rate me a 1 and a 2. So I need to do or and create another filter group for the customers who have rated me a 2. So we're doing the same steps. We're going to select an attribute, tell us how we did, and is equal to 2. We're going to save that filter and hit close. And now, although the setup is different, this gets you the same result as if you were to say any of the values and then select 1 or 2, for example. So just to give you a bit of insight into how these filters work and how you can use them going forward. So I've successfully applied that now, so I can actually delete this one. And now I can hit activate on this list. Again, I get my expected number of members, not menus, and In just a second, you'll see that that's updated, and I have all 9 customers who have had a poor experience with me are in this list, and I have all of the customers who had a good experience with me in this list. You can also just as easily create a list for the customers who had an okay experience and rated you a 3 out of 5, but I think it's particularly interesting to look at the opposite ends of the spectrum, so who had a good experience and who had a bad experience. Maybe you can ask for additional feedback from those who had a good experience, and maybe you can send out a campaign with an incentive for those who have had a poor experience. So this is just a really quick example of how you can create a list. I'm going to create another video where it's a little bit more advanced, and you can actually even use lists for things like RFM segmentation. But this is just a quick intro into how you can use them in a really practical way, and a way that can really give a bit of direction to your marketing and make your customers feel that bit more seen.